wouldn't hesitate to kill again if it covers their tracks.
This is Samuel Leggett here with JVS Media Productions. I am here in Los Angeles for the premiere of Glass Onion Knives Out 2. I'm excited. It's insane. There's photography here. All the celebs are going to be here. But more than anything, this is going to be one of the biggest movies this year. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned for our coverage. It's coming very soon. All right? Thanks, guys.
Hey, you guys. Just as you saw from the intro, it's been a crazy time. So I'm here to give you guys the exclusive non-spoiler review for Knives Out story, Glass Onion. This is got, of course, Daniel Craig back as Detective Blanc, but it's a slew. Like, there's so many amazing actors in this. I'm just going to take me time just to even read it off. You got Janelle Monáe, Dave Bautista, Edward Norton, Kate Hudson, Catherine Hayne, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Henwick, and a slew of other surprises that I'm not even going to go into. But this time around, Detective Blanc is kind of like, he's trying to feel out what is his next endeavor. What does he want to do? Because he's bored. And you'll see that very early on. But he comes upon a case of a group of friends that kind of decide to go to a location, and it's kind of like a whodunit game, or, you know, a game where it's like somebody is supposed to die. But it quickly gets very deadly. And at the same exact time, there are other things and threats that you just can't perceive. I'll say this, the highlight of this is just the ensemble. The ensemble, their connections with each other. Like, I think that Ryan and the way he developed this story is so intricate because every single character has their own tale. And I don't mean by like tale as in like the story or a layer, but I mean like they have their own tale. Like, they have things that compromises them, things that they're not sharing or they're not talking about, that you're kind of like, okay, what is going on? Much like, of course, the first one. The first one was a classic, of course. But with this one, it's very fish out of water situation because all of these people are well accomplished. They don't have anything necessarily they need. So it's kind of like, where's the story really going? And then you have Janelle Monáe in this. She's doing quite a bit because her character is well established as well, but there's also multiple different layers with her, and she plays it masterfully. And I think that her interweaving with the cast is another highlight of this one as well. And also just the way that the screenplay goes, because there are different moments where, you know, it goes through the progression of the story, and, you know, when, you know, Detective Blanc comes into it, like, of course, he's a genius, so he's gonna see through everything. But there are, even in this one, in this time, there are things that are escaping and getting over his head. And I thought that that was a very interesting progression because that's not normal for him. Additionally, you got like somebody like Edward Norton, who in and of his own right is a masterful actor, and he's just playing with this character so much, like his character Miles. But I think that's for everybody. Kate Hudson in this one, like her character, she is not ditzy, but at the same as that time, she's not, you know, the brightest, but she is highlight. Like, every interaction that she has, everything that comes out of her mouth is very spontaneous, but at the time, it's a little behind the curve. And I love the way she plays it. I think each actor does a great job with their performance in this one. And I think that because of the way that Ryan highlighted them with the screenplay, it makes it even more engaging. This, to me, is on par, if not just as good, if not maybe even better than the first Knives Out. I think this is a really interesting pairing, too. You know how you have, like, certain, you know, directors that have, like, you know, a slew of different movies that are kind of in the same continuity. Like, this could continue on in a very interesting way if they decide to. If they don't, they just kind of cut it right here. Even then, looking at the first one and then going to this one, like, you don't miss a step, and it's so much more fun. And I think also because it's in a secluded area, a secluded island, like the scenery of it, the way that the architecture of how they kind of designed the literal glass onion and what is actually happening, down to the last 30 minutes of this, it gets very interesting, to say the least, because they do some things where you kind of have to travel back like, okay, what happened here? What's going on here? I also like the way they use the soundtrack in it. I think the score works really well for the moments that were intense, to be able to kind of slow down, and at the same time allow the actors to not necessarily, I don't want to spoil it. Never mind. Leave it at that. All I can say is I think this is either a 9 or a 10 out of 10. I'll leave it right at a 9.5 out of 10. I don't really have too many negatives about it. Some nitpicks here or there with certain things that happen with certain characters. But I mean, when you have Leslie Odom Jr., Catherine Hahn, Jessica Henwick, you know, Janelle Monáe, I mean, Daniel Craig, James Bond himself, like, with the hands of an amazing writer-director in Rian Johnson, of course you're going to have a really good time, and this is no different. Hopefully you guys enjoy some of the highlights that we've got. I've got some stuff that I want to talk about a little bit later on, but make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button. You don't want to miss Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Okay, guys? Peace, everybody.